All right, welcome back, We Three Bros podcast. How's everyone going? How's everyone going? How's everyone doing? What's up, Joseph?
What's up, Derek, man? It's all good. We all mess up on the intro, just like myself, man. I'm doing well, man. It's good to be back after a week of just nonsense and, I don't know what the kids say these days. Shenanigans? Can we say shenanigans? No, we can't say shenanigans. It's fine. Reminds me of I don't know if you've ever seen Super Troopers.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
Right, whenever they're
Barbara, what's that place you like with all the goofy shit on the wall?
He's like, I will pistol whip the
Shenanigans?
next. I will pistol whip the next one that says shenanigans, and he's like, "Oh, you talking about shenanigans?"
You're talking about shenanigans, right?
And they're like,
love
"Oh," and they give him
Super Troopers. That's like one of
But I'm
my
doing
all-time
good, man.
faves.
Yeah. But I'm doing good, man. Good to be back here on the podcast with you today, man. I know we got just a few things today to cover, man. But as always, Derek, how's your week been, man? How have you been, man?
It's been good. I had to go into the office a couple days this week, but was no thing. Um, was it Monday? Yeah, Monday in the afternoon, a storm rolled through, and it's like around this time in the afternoon, and it got like pitch black out. Like it looked like it was dark,
Oh,
and then it
damn.
just like and then the skies just opened up, and it rained for a while, and then it kind of cleared up, and then it was like back to normal again. But it looked crazy out.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, man. We were supposed to have some pretty bad weather. Well, not bad weather, but at least a lot of rain here.
Yeah,
There's a tropical storm that was kind of coming from the south, the Gulf of Mexico,
yeah,
that was supposed to kind of border Austin, but eventually just kind of missed us a little bit. But unfortunately, got a lot of that East Texas, like South Houston,
Houston got
um,
hit again.
yeah, Louisiana, and some of those other states. As it kind of progressed and just was like a tropical storm. It did
Yeah,
upgrade to a hurricane at some point, but kind of. Was just more so of a tropical storm. It's just a lot of rain, a lot of wind. I know a few people out there said that there was like trees that were pushed over and just like in the street and stuff, which is again pretty typical around that stuff. But definitely hear you, man. When it comes to storms, they for sure suck. But besides that, like it was cloudy. It's like one day, and then after that, it was just beautiful days, man. We had really nice weather. Still a little warm. It is South Texas, man, so it gets pretty
yeah,
hot in the 90s and stuff. But for the most part, man, it was still really, really solid weather. So I can't complain, man.
yeah. Hasn't been bad, but yeah. Today's my Friday, so I'm excited for the weekend.
Oh, nice, man. 3-day weekend?
Yep.
Ooh, I hope you guys
So,
have something planned. I hope you go golfing. If you don't have that on the
um,
on the agenda, I hope you add that to the agenda. Watch some good movies at home, man. Maybe catch up on some shows.
well, one of these days, of this weekend, there's a town about an hour north of us. It's a German sister city, and
Okay.
their Oktoberfest celebration starts today, actually, and goes through
Oh,
Sunday. So one of these days, one of these couple of days on the next, we in the weekend, we want to at least go up there for one of the days and check it out.
cool, man. Are you gonna wear your like wooden clogs and then
I,
have your Peter Pan hat?
my lederhosen.
Your lederhosen with your Stein just out there just drinking it up?
I got a T-shirt from Epcot in Disney, actually, in the like the German section. It
Yeah.
says beer garden, and then it has like a thing on the back, like one of the beer chants that you do when you're drinking German beer. So
Oh,
I'll probably
nice.
wear that for when we go up there.
What if you run into somebody that has the exact same shirt?
I guess we gotta drink some beer.
And it is the 100% Step Brothers like GIF video or scene from the film. Did we
Right,
just become best friends?
right. Yep.
Yup. And then just go ahead and just like what does he say? Just like if you could have one male crush or something like that, just both you guys say John Stamos.
What?
Or something. I can't remember the
No,
setup
they
for
said,
it.
what's your favorite dinosaur?
Yeah, just ask him that, man.
and
As
they
soon as you
both
see
and they
him,
both said Velociraptor.
yeah, just look him in the eye when if you see this hypothetical person with the same shirt, just be
Right.
like favorite dinosaur, and if you guys both say Velociraptor, you have to leave your partner and go end up with him and drink up all night, man. Just drink it up with him all night. Have a wild
Right.
night. Just don't eat the marshmallows because they're probably drugged. It's fine.
Or drink the Jaeger.
Or drink. Oh God, no. Not the poison. Look, okay, so some of my best friends love Jägermeister. I'm not particularly a huge fan. It just tastes like cough medicine to me. I don't know. Like I swear, these people who drink this shit probably when they're sick and they're drinking Nyquil are just like are in heaven. They're
Love the
probably like,
flavor of it.
yeah, I love the flavor. They're probably they probably just sip on it too, like all night. Just pour a
Ugh,
little 2 tablespoons of Nyquil, just sipping on it the
that's
entire
gross.
night. The Jägermeister is disgusting. For people listening, or if you are listening, do not drink Jägermeister. It is
Well,
terrible.
that used to be my like go-to drink, Jaeger bombs.
Uh,
Like I used to down Jaeger bombs at the club.
I will say they taste delicious. I don't know why. I don't know what it is with Red Bull and fucking Jägermeister, but to me, I remember it tasting like fucking bubblegum. Like it just tasted really good. But I would always take shots with it by itself because I like did this thing where I just gave up caffeine, so I don't drink caffeine at all. So like whenever I'm sitting there, I'm just like, fuck it, man. I'm just gonna just drink this straight. After a while,
Yeah,
it just tastes disgusting, man. But
it's
yeah,
like cough
Jaeger,
syrup.
there it is, man. It tastes like cough syrup.
I think it has like black licorice or something in it,
Holy shit!
and black licorice
Now
already
that you're
tastes
like
like trash.
yeah, man. Now that you're saying that, man, like I think I'm starting to taste it a little bit. Like I can taste the black licorice. I just
Yeah,
have bad memory. I just remember one time I ate a bunch of pasta and like I drank a bunch of Jägermeister afterwards, and I wasn't ready. I thought I was gonna just fucking power through, and I took a few shots, man. Got pretty damn wasted, and I was just like, I just like I need to go throw up. And I remember throwing up. All it was just red,
oh,
because it was just
well,
like the sauce or whatever. Like it was the pasta in it too, but it was like I ate a red sauce. It was just red. I thought I was like,
dying, like
dying,
throwing
man. I
up
was just like, am I
your
bleeding? And they were
insides.
like, no, you idiot, you ate fucking pasta earlier. And I was like,
But
oh, okay.
pasta and alcohol already don't go together that well.
Well, I
Well, like
mean,
hard liquor.
I was like baby hard. Like I was like wine and
Yeah,
pasta.
wine is, or maybe like a light beer, I guess. I don't know,
I look.
but like, but like if you're eating pasta and doing shots of like Jose or or some
Oh
Grey Goose or something like that,
no, that would be
probably
fun.
not going to end up
Could
very
you
well at the end of the night.
could you imagine like fucking fettuccine alfredo with fucking Jose Cuervo or some shit, just taking tequila shots,
Oh,
eating and taking tequila shots? Sounds like your toilet. If you don't throw that up, your toilet the next day
oh,
is done.
you just
I'm
got to
sorry.
replace the whole damn thing.
Replace the whole damn thing. But no, man. So Jägermeister is terrible, man. Hopefully you have a good, fun weekend, man.
Yeah,
If you do meet your future twin brother or your future twin best friend, I hope it's a good time for you, man. So, but yeah, man. So we'll go ahead and get into it, right? I know
yeah.
there's an episode of a certain show that we're currently watching. Did you watch
What
the
if?
episode? What if, man? Did you watch the
Yeah,
episode?
yeah. I watched it. I have mixed feelings about it. I guess.
So let's start off by saying spoilers if you haven't watched it,
Yeah,
right? We should
spoilers, of
always
course.
disclaim spoilers. We should probably even put that in the title from now on, but we'll
Yeah,
discuss that another time. But we'll start out, right? A young man from Oakland, California, whose father was murdered in almost a secrecy because
yeah,
he went out and saw that things were different from where they were from, and the people that looked like him were being treated differently.
yeah,
And I think that with his father being tragically murdered, especially from the place that where he was from, it burned a desire for him to get payback on the people that did this to his family, to
yeah,
his father, right? And so it leads him down a dark path of being one extremely intelligent, right? I believe they mentioned that he graduates from MIT, highly decorated as a soldier. Eventually
yeah,
goes in. I think he goes into the SEALs, right?
yeah.
And
He's
then
a
within
Navy
the
SEAL.
and becomes a secret service or not secret service, but has like works undercover and like espionage. It kind of seems like it, or at least does like
Yeah,
secret missions and stuff for sure. Um, and you find him rescuing Tony Stark
yeah,
in the desert, man. So we'll go ahead and get into it, right? So one of the things we were kind of talking about off camera, right, before we got started recording this episode. Did this man really just pick up a fucking missile and throw it in the desert?
right, right.
Well, I don't know, man. That was just like a little tidbit. I get it, man. It's animated. This is not supposed to be real life. Like, obviously, it's not. But I was like, how can you just pick this up and fucking Peyton Manning this bitch 60 yards down the field? Like, it just doesn't, it doesn't make any sense,
Yeah,
right?
especially since how
Or
he doesn't.
in your honor, sorry to mean to cut you off there, man, but in your honor, we'll just go ahead and just to fuck with you, Russell Wilson that bitch down, 70 yards or something.
Like he's not like a super soldier like how Steve Rogers was or Peggy Carter was in this series or any of the other people that were exposed to the super soldier serum or anything like that. He's just a regular smart guy. Like he has no physical attributes that would lend to him chucking this thing as far as he did. Like
he's an I would say again, for lack of a better way, he's Black Widow. Let's be honest. Like an equivalent to like their abilities and probably their
Yeah,
intelligence and what they're able to do with weapons and just like their combat styles and what they can do. Now again,
yeah,
very different, but I think that being from Wakanda, I guess their genetics are a little bit different, so it gives you just a little bit more of an ability. But
yeah,
even then, like you said, how is he throwing it 80 yards or however far he threw it? I'm just making up
yeah,
the number, but it's like almost like he's Black Widow, right?
yeah,
Like without any kind of superpowers, what's the difference between him, Black Widow, or Hawkeye?
yeah.
One's good with an arrow. One of
One's a
them has
trained
red
assassin.
hairs from Russia, but can kick ass and is great with weapons. And then him, he's not probably great with an arrow, but he's great with fucking weapons. They can probably kick some ass,
Yeah,
right? So don't I don't want to discredit him from that, but it's still like he's just like a regular person.
yeah.
So but anyways, so he partners up with Tony, right? Saves Tony's life. Tony's very thankful for him, and he helps to, I forgot the guy, he was
He
played
set up Obadiah. I'm pretty
Obadiah.
sure he set him up. Like in this reality,
Oh, you think he
like for
did?
him to find out all that stuff on Obadiah, it seems like he kind of like planned it that way
Like he
to
knew
like,
that Obadiah was going to
yeah,
backstab Tony, or
yeah,
did he like he kind of set it up like maybe entice it so for him to
to do it.
want to stab him and then be like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have did that, especially because he was tracking him the entire time.
Yeah,
I get that. I get that, and I think that that's kind of like a that makes sense, right? And again, we were talking about this a little bit off camera, right? Like now we get to see a part of Killmonger, right? Like every time you want to see him as a good guy, like awesome, he saved Tony, and then he did that.
yeah,
And then it's like you can know, and then there's like some subtle scenes in the episode, or like leading up to, of course, like towards like the conclusion, but like before that, where it's like you're like you want to trust the guy, but you're not sure if you should trust the guy,
yeah,
right? And you're hoping, you're rooting for him, you want him to do well. I know I was rooting for him, right? He saved Tony. I was like, okay, cool, he's going to take a different perspective, he's
yeah.
going to do some good, right? He's going to be what is it, Roddy? Like he's going to be
Like Rhodey, like
Rhodey, thank
Rhodes.
you, right?
Yeah,
He's going to be like Rhodey Rhodes, and take the suit, and and be something different, right?
yeah,
But just like the Watcher was kind of saying, which I thought was awesome that they included the Watcher, and there's some really cool scenes in
yeah,
here. But I digress. We'll get into that here in a bit. But he kind of, I thought he was going to take that role, but he didn't, right?
yeah,
And so he became kind of Tony's protege, or like he took Happy's role, right?
yeah.
And then with him taking Happy's role, he eventually kind of led, I guess he was not the leader, but he kind of led like the security division or whatever. And
Yeah.
then like they decided to make a robot, right? And it was not necessarily an Iron Man suit, but something completely different that mimicked.
More like Justin Hammer's. Well, not even Justin Hammer's suits because his they had soldiers inside the suits. These suits were
Oh.
fully remote.
hmm
So basically, just like a cyborg, I guess that was controlled
Cyborg,
externally.
possibly like artificial intelligence, but with that artificial intelligence, it was like they kind of they were still being controlled in a way, but
Yeah,
they still had, like, you gave them orders, but they were still able to communicate
they had
with each
some
other too.
autonomy to them.
Yes, right. So they have the ability to kind of do those things, but to mimic them. And they were like, you saw that they had to make a deal with Claw, right?
Yeah,
And so they go set up to buy this thing, and who shows up to stop the deal, right?
T'Challa.
T'Challa, right? The Black Panther himself breaks through the window, and he has like this, pulsating gun or something like that he's, has on him, and he eventually kills him, right?
Yeah,
And then who else does he kill?
Rhodes.
Yeah, he kills Rhodes, right? Because Rhodes is,
Yeah,
is there. He's supposed to be partnering with him, so he kills Rhodes too. Um, and he goes back, and I guess he kind of makes a further partnership with Claw, and I believe he goes back with Tony, and then he's like talking with Tony and stuff, and then Tony like figures it out,
Tony
right?
knew what was happening because Jarvis recorded that whole transaction.
Yeah, Jarvis recorded it, and then I guess again you see that dark side of
Killmonger.
Killmonger, right? Like Eric, you see that of him where he's just all like, you know what, like this was a plan all along. Like you got to die, and just like
I, I I just don't think he would have been able to outsmart Tony. Like Tony would have been done more to protect himself than have this one prototype, the first prototype they built to protect
Yeah,
him, like, and stay in the same room, he definitely would have left the room.
for sure. No, and I agree. I think that that part where it was kind of like, you know, and it reminds me of fucking of Watchmen, right? When
Yeah,
Rorschach's like, I'm not in here with you guys. You guys are in here with me.
yeah,
So I think he was kind of blocking it down, right, and locking down his where he lived and stuff in the shop so that he couldn't leave. But I was like, if you're gonna do that, and if Jarvis is like somewhat like a partner with you, like wouldn't he just keep it closed? Like
yeah,
even after Eric killed you, like wouldn't Jarvis like record everything and then like maybe send it to the authorities, or maybe wait
yeah,
to keep it
something.
closed until the authorities come so that they could capture him?
Yeah,
But that wasn't the case, obviously, right? Like they're like, oh,
somehow he used it to make it look like Tony was attacked or something, or
mhm.
so that the military be on his side to go after Wakanda.
Right? And then he returns to Wakanda, right? And lets them know, like, hey guys, this is a situation. And then he builds a relationship with the father, right? And he's just
Yeah,
like, hey, sorry about all this stuff. And his father just like, no, look, like, what he's speaking is true. Let's bring him in here. And he says, let's lower the shields and let these robots here, because if we bring them in here, then we can cut off, their signaling back to the military.
yeah,
Right there, I'd have been like, no, man, fuck you. Like me personally, I don't care how much of a person if I haven't seen you in years and you just show up and you're like, no, let these robots in, it's fine. I'll be
right.
like, I don't think so. We need some more SAC evaluations on you, man. We're gonna go ahead and put you to the side and we're gonna ask you some questions.
Well, you saw that T'Challa's sister was like questioning Eric the whole time.
Yeah,
Like
oh,
she
for
knew
sure.
something was up.
Yeah, Shuri is a badass, man. I love Shuri. I like her character a lot. And again, I don't know if we talked about it, but I definitely speculated like I would hope that she become the new Black
Black Panther.
Panther, or
Yeah,
at least kind of, even if they don't continue with the movies, like maybe in the next one, maybe she takes in a small role, wears a suit for a little bit, and is just like, this isn't for me. Like
yeah,
we're different from this. But I think it'd be cool to have her as a Black Panther,
yeah.
right? Um, but anyway, so it's kind of we're deviating here, but going back, like, yeah, man, I like the fact that she's just like, no, man, like, she's questioning everything, like, cause
Yeah.
she's not blinded, right? Like the father obviously is blinded because of everything that happened, kind of with with him and his father and stuff, and how how that kind of like eventually followed out and stuff, but it wasn't one of those things where it's like, where I don't know, I still would have trusted him, right? But they
Yeah.
trusted him, and the
Yeah.
robots come in to Wakanda, and they eventually start attacking everybody, and
Well,
it was
they shut down because of the shield, and then he reactivates them.
yep. And so they have to, like, he gets on top of some rhinoceros thing and then runs in there
Yeah,
and starts like blowing shit up. I think that's awesome that T'Challa's like mother is, kind of the leader of the
like the general
army,
of the
yeah,
army or whatever.
of their
Yeah,
army, military, whatever you want to call it. And then, like, she's a badass, man. She's out there kicking ass. They got Angela
yeah,
Bassett to come back and do the voice again, and so she's
yeah.
out there kicking ass, man, like beating up these robots and stuff. Um, and then after they do that, they kind of see him as like a person to, like, oh yeah, yeah, he's trustworthy. He's here to fight with us. He's here to help us and stuff. Like it kind of gets that separation from the U.S. and stuff, right? So.
Yeah.
Uh, and once you think that everything, Oswald, it ends well, right? You're like, well, it's not ends. It doesn't end well necessarily, but
Right.
like Shuri, like Pepper Potts is like, of course, like, all right, what the fuck's going on? Like this can't be true. Like what's happening? She goes
Yeah.
back to the office, and Shuri's waiting there, right? And
Yeah.
she's like, hey, I got to show you something, and it's fucking Tony dead, and that's how it ends,
Yeah.
right? I think this is the second time that they've done that, right? Where it's like they ended it and then there was a continuation in the next episode. Uh, and then I think I saw some screenshots, or I think they're at least going to have like maybe 4 more episodes, if not more. Because I did see some screenshots, I think on the Disney, Twitter or something, where they kind of gave certain, I guess it was like screenshots from the episodes and stuff. I know
Yeah.
Captain Carter for sure comes back.
And so
Um,
does the Supreme Strange.
Supreme Strange, yes, he's with Thor, right?
Yeah.
The fall character Supreme Strange comes back as well. So,
I read like that episode is like the mid-season finale or something.
oh, which one? The next episode?
Whatever one has Supreme Strange in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, they'll take a break and then they'll come back like to finish
Yeah.
up the season or something like that.
Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty damn cool, man. But yeah, I don't know. I gotta look more into that, man. But that if that is the midseason, which it could be the next episode, I have
Yeah,
no
could be.
idea.
Who knows?
Or maybe they have 2 or 3 more episodes. But I'm intrigued to see kind of where else this is going, right? But
Yeah.
kind of backtrack here, man. The Watcher, like, right? I love the fact that he's just kind of like in the background, right? That one scene where
How they
Eric
paint
is,
him into the scenes or whatever of
oh, dude,
the
fucking love that. Like, there's a
yeah,
scene where
when
Killmonger
he's
goes.
standing on the cliff or whatever.
Yes, man. You know what
Yeah.
scene I'm talking about? Yeah, he's like sitting in the corner, or he's standing there, right, just hanging out, and then there's the Watcher on the far left side.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you don't pay attention, you won't see it. Like I didn't see it at first. It took me a second, and I was like, oh shit, that was an awesome landscape. So
Yeah.
for them to kind of include him there too, man, was
Yeah.
awesome, right? So it was nice to see kind of like him, like he's the Watcher, he's watching, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it makes me kind of go back to like Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it was the end credits of like the second film where like Stan Lee is sitting there talking to them. Are
Yeah.
they the Watchers? Do you remember that scene?
I
I gotta
remember
go
the scene
back.
you're talking about. There's
Yeah,
like
there's
three
like
individuals that he's talking to, and
yeah,
they look like the Watcher.
they
But I
look
don't know
like
if it was if there's more than one Watcher. I'd have to look again.
yeah. We'll have to look that up. Maybe talk about it in the next episode. But I swear, like they look exactly like the Watcher. Right? They
Yeah.
got big
Yeah.
heads. They got like the little collar thing and everything. They
Yeah.
got the weird looking eyes and stuff. So
Yeah.
to me, they look like the Watcher. It'd be cool to see if those are the Watchers and they're kind of ahead of that or whatever. But or
Yeah.
on top of that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, it was cool to kind of see him. And the fact that he doesn't interfere. Right? He's watching amongst them like we're watching, which is almost like a like fourth dimension or third wall breaking fourth
Breaking the
dimension.
fourth wall or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
it's a weird kind of like because we're included with him as
Yeah.
we're also watching everything kind of unfold.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that he like does flashbacks like again when Tony died, like he was just like, oh well, like these things aren't, the things don't end up the way that they are. Don't bring the same heroes that were here once before,
Yeah.
right? Because they kind of do a flashback of him like hammering on the anvil or something, right?
Yeah.
Where he's
Building the
making the
first
suit.
Iron Man suit.
Yeah, and then like him wearing the suit, and of course at the end, again, spoilers, guys, if you guys haven't seen, um, in game. But hey, if you haven't, go watch the movie. Well, you should be listening to this if you watch it. I'm just kidding. And snapping his fingers like I am Iron Man, right? And he
Yeah.
snaps his finger, and ends the whole world and everything. Or like zombies, right? Like Marvel zombies. Like at the end, Thanos had the fucking gauntlet, right? And he was
Yeah.
a zombie, and he was just like closing his fists and stuff. So interesting things, man, that are coming up within the series. So far, I like where the direction is, but I know you said that you had some things that you possibly didn't like about the episode. Or some things that you didn't like,
That I did or did not.
did not like. Yeah, because I know
I
before
think
we
my
started
main thing
talking.
is just the way he like was able to outsmart Tony. Like to me, I don't think that would happen. I think Tony would always be one step ahead of him, like he was when he returned and he told him that Jarvis recorded the whole thing. Like
Yeah,
he has this like super intelligent AI that Tony is smart on his own, but pairing him with Jarvis or with Friday, it makes him even more smarter. And I don't think someone would be able to outsmart him that easily.
yeah. Two heads are better than one, right?
Yeah.
The old adage that people have used before. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Counterpoint to that, right? Again, he went to MIT, right? Like apparently
Yeah.
he was like a really intelligent guy. Now, was he that smart to plan out the things? I don't think so. And one reason why, the only reason, like I think he has the ability to outsmart Tony. Like I honestly do. I think that he measures up with the same kind of intelligence. He may just not have had the same resources. And I mean
Yeah.
that may be one of the reasons why like they kind of portray that a little bit, right? Like if he had the right resources, like the right school, went to the right schools, maybe grew up in a better environment and stuff, like maybe he could have matched Tony, back and forth, right? Back to back or whatever. But I think the reason that he doesn't have that ability is because he's driven by anger. And I
Yeah.
think that sometimes, like, I mean, you know how it is.
Revenge.
Yeah, like you know how it is, man. You could be pissed off at something, man, and how many times, like, are you mad at something, whatever it is, and you miss something because you're pissed off,
Yeah.
right? Like you're seeing red, man. You're not seeing
Yeah.
anything else, right? You're tunnel vision, and I think that that's the only reason why, like, I think Tony would have that ability. But in this situation, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's hard to argue it, right? Because it's like you would think he would make a mistake like he did in the original film, right? Like he
Yeah.
made mistakes because he was just too angry that he couldn't see the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was like his downfall in the first film, plus amongst other things. But I think this one as well, like like that could have been, like should have been, but maybe in this universe he was able to control that, right? He wasn't seeing so
Yeah.
much red and could match him, back and forth. But I don't know, right? That's a cool thing about the show. It's what if, right? This is why we get
Yeah.
to debate those things. But
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. In that instance, he had two brains, he had two people against him, right? He had Jarvis and he had Tony,
Yeah.
and or maybe Tony just, yes, he thought ahead, but maybe he didn't think that much ahead, right? Because he wasn't a superhero, right? Like he
Yeah.
never got the experience of superhero, being defeated, having to climb back up. It's the whole Rocky
Yeah.
shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's like you don't you get the shit beat out of you. You're
And then
working,
you get back up. You
and
gotta
you get
fight. You
back up and
gotta
keep
fight your
going.
way back up to the top or whatever.
Yeah, or one of my friends, like I think I asked her one time. I was like, "Hey, what's your favorite quote?" And she's all like, "Oh, it's from a movie. It's not how hard you get hit. It's how hard you can. It's how hard you. It's not how hard you can hit. It's how hard you can get hit and still keep going.
Yeah.
It's Rocky. It's Rocky, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no. So maybe in that instance, like he didn't have those defeats. This was his first time where he was defeated, right? In something, or like somebody tried to like backstab him,
Yeah.
and then he didn't learn. Maybe he didn't have the ability to learn, so that's maybe how Eric was able to like stop him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, right? Like you make a really good point, because he fucking locked down the thing. Maybe he wouldn't have locked it down. Like, why would he lock it down at first, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was Eric supposed to like run out of the building and go do
Yeah.
something else, right? Or and maybe Tony should have built the robots to be more indestructible. Maybe like they shouldn't have had the ability for Eric to do that maneuver, or improvise, or something like that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs, man. But
Yeah.
I was just trying to make my argument on that. But anyway, so that's what if, man. Um,
did
just what's up?
Did you see the Hawkeye trailer?
I did see the Hawkeye trailer. Holy shit, I forgot. I totally forgot we were supposed to talk about that. I did see the Hawkeye trailer, man. What are your first thoughts, man? What are your initial thoughts?
I think it's gonna be good. Like, I don't know, like these episodic shows on Disney Plus, in the Marvel universe, and even like the Star Wars universe, Mandalorian, like, I mean, they got so much backing as far as like funding and who's involved, that everyone they do is good. Like, it's on par with their movies, like with what you'd go see at the cinema, and be able to watch it at home. Like, all of them are good. And I think Hawkeye's going to be another one that's going to be really good. Jeremy Renner's a good, he plays Hawkeye to, as he's great as Hawkeye.
He is, man.
The story is good. I'm excited to see like who's going to be like the people they go up against, and like the action sequences look really good, and there's always comedic relief with with Hawkeye there. So I think it's going to be it's going to be another good series, and they just keep pumping them out. It's nuts, like back to back to back. You never have nothing to watch.
So I think, yeah, no, I agree, right? And one of my, one of the things that I felt that could be a little tough sometimes, like, you ever watch the show Gotham?
I watched
or heard about
the first maybe 2 seasons,
right? And it's kind of more so about the villains in the series, right? And even Commissioner Gordon, right? Or he wasn't commissioner at the time, but
Detective
Gordon, right? Like it was everything that we wanted and loved about Gotham, but there was a huge piece that was missing.
Yeah.
Right. And it was Batman.
Yeah.
Like everybody wanted Batman. Yes, you kind of see his fall and he shows up and whatever, right? But like we wanted Batman. Like, cool. We saw the Joker, we saw, all these other characters, but it's like we wanted Batman. We wanted that main character. And you don't get that a lot. And that's what sometimes makes me nervous about some of these series, but it also doesn't, because like, for example, in Hawkeye, right? Like Jeremy Renner, he's a main character, right? He's one of the Avengers. In Captain and Winter Soldier, right? Like or Falcon and Winter Soldier, sorry.
Yeah.
Like how, again, main characters in the, or even if they were supporting characters, I still think that they were main characters in the movies more than anything, right? Yeah, maybe they had some supporting roles, but as the series kept getting longer, you got more and more of them, which is great. But the thing that's always the toughest thing, and again, I know they're kind of trying to tie them all together, which I hope they do eventually, is that you never really get like the superstar, and you don't always get the superstar villain either.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like you were saying, who is the villain supposed to be in Hawkeye, right?
Yeah.
Like in the series. And And I think that that's like they'll probably have some important characters from the comic books, but like how well known are they within the Marvel
Yeah.
universe, right? Or even the DC universes whenever they're making these shows. But
Yeah.
less on that. But I know that, like, is Ten Rings going to intertwine in this, big story, right? Like, how is
Yeah.
Ten Rings is going to apply to like Cap, Cap and Wanda, and Loki, and like how is
Everybody else. Yeah.
all like is it going to, or is it only going to be a certain set of episodes and shows and series that are going to kind of bring together, right? But again, like
Yeah.
it's similar to Gotham and them having a the star protagonist and the star antagonist. Is it's going to be some like, oh, is it some kind of clan or something like that that is like Hawkeye going to go after? Like, who's he going to fight, right? Like,
Yeah.
it might be a superstar villain, but in Hawkeye's world, but is it a superstar villain overall, right? Like,
Yeah.
Hawkeye's not going to fight Galactus. Maybe in the comic books he fought a major villain like that, right? Like, we
Yeah.
don't know, but, or I mean, I'm sure they're out there. I don't know. I have to do my research here, but from a like perspective of like who's Hawkeye, like who are the main antagonists that are going to like go against him, right?
Yeah.
And are they going to be good, right? Is it going to be a cool organization? Is the person behind them a main player amongst all the other characters within the series, right?
Yeah.
Or other series kind of combined together, right? Or
Yeah.
or are they going to do the DC version, right? I forgot what the show was called, but like I know on DC, like on Warner Brothers and stuff, what they did was they had all the characters that they had, like main characters like Green Arrow, Flash. They all had a crossover episode, and
Yeah.
they all united and they fought against like certain villains together, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. So I wonder if they're gonna do the same thing with like the Marvel series. Like, will we eventually have all series kind of crossover, or will they
Yeah.
go on screen and become in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Which brings me back to another point. I'll never forget. I think that the streaming services, and again, this is just my own hypothesis. I think streaming services and episodes are what they are doing is they're kind of like conforming us to get used to that format,
Yeah.
right? In that platform, right? Because I remember I was listening to this old like podcast of somebody else, right? And they were talking about, oh yeah, the way that we digest information is a lot different than we did it back in the day, right? Back in the day, they're like, oh, our attention span was 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Let's make an
Now it's like
episode
10 or 5 or
or whatever, right? But now, like, they're noticing, they're like, holy shit, this person just watched an entire season in a day, right? So the way that we digest like information is completely different, right? Like how we
yeah.
used to before, it was just like, hey, give me a 3-minute song, give me 30 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, get their attention, and then send them on their way. Now it's
Yeah.
like, no, we're spending a lot more time in front of television, right? But I will never forget this. I remember I was like discussing, just like people at work or just having conversations, right? Sometimes when we have some downtime. And I remember this person telling me one time, they're like, oh, I really don't watch movies like because they're so short. They're like, I like series or shows because it really expands on the story and gives it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I really like the fact that, you know, there's so much depth that goes into them that it gives me the ability to watch the things. And that always stuck with me. This was years ago, man. This was like a long time ago when somebody did that. And it stuck with me because it's like, I get it, right? Because how many shows have you seen? How many shows have I seen where it's just like, man, like this was 5 seasons. This was great from beginning to end. There's some
Yeah.
good stories. It's great to hear. It's great to see. Like, you get to see these characters grow or grow up, right? Depending on where they're at within their lives, and just kind of do some different things, right? Um, so for me to kind of see that, like, it always resonated with me, and I think that we're going to continue to kind of head that direction. And I think
Yeah.
that people like Disney are at the forefront of it, and they're getting ahead of it. And I think they
Yeah.
understand that. I think they understand that people want the content. They want to sit down and watch it all day. They want multiple stories. They want multiple. And I think that, will they eventually give up on movies? I don't think so. Not yet. I think we still
Nah.
like movies because it's still good stories within that 2 hour frame.
Yeah.
But they may start seeing more money coming from shows than they will from movies at some
Yeah.
point, right? Again, shows like Game of Thrones, right? That makes me think of like that show. Like, they spent a lot of money on that show, but they
Yeah.
also earned a lot of money for that show as well, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure that
Because
if
it's
you,
not just like what people paid to watch HBO. They also did merchandising and sold the rights to, you know, whatever, t-shirts, cups, chess sets,
Yeah.
all that stuff made them money for just using the name and the characters from a show.
Man, Star Wars. It reminds me of the old Star Wars story where like, um, they didn't like. I think it was Fox or whoever bought and sold Star Wars, right? I can't remember the company, but whatever company it was, I think they went to George Lucas and were like, "Hey, yeah, man, we'll give you like 75% on the merchandise." It wasn't 75%; it was a huge percentage.
Yeah.
And they're like, and we'll pay you this much, right? And he could have got more money, but he was like, "Nah, I'll take the merch." And they didn't realize what they had. As soon as that shit hit the shelves, you couldn't find a Star Wars
Oh yeah.
toy, T-shirt, nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So you're right. Like the merchandising is important, man. It costs. Again, it's why I have this shirt. It's why you have that shirt, right?
Yeah.
We understand that the people who want the products as well to kind of show them to other people, show their friends, have that communication, have that situation where you go to this beer fest or this Oktoberfest, and a guy is wearing the same Disney t-shirt you're wearing, and you guys
Yeah.
become best friends because that's why. So um,
That's why we have merchandise on our website, so everyone can
absolutely,
represent We Three Bros. So
I,
quick
I
plug. Check
I
out the
like
We
how you
Three
plug
Bros
that in there, man.
website.
I love how you plug that,
Look for
man.
the merch page and buy some merch.
Buy some merch, everybody. So but no, absolutely. So I think that the way that we're digesting information is different, and I think that it's
Yeah.
only going to continue to lead that way, man. And I think it's
Yeah.
going to keep getting bigger and better. I think once they start realizing, like, holy shit, like, why are you putting you know production in this fucking 2.5 hour movie, and we're hoping that it'll hit or whatever, and it
Yeah.
doesn't, and then they lose so much more money, or they can get people invested in shows, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what's so enticing about comic books. If you read a comic book, a lot of them end in cliffhangers to make you want to go buy some more,
Buy the
right?
next issue.
Right? And people want that stuff now, right? And
Yeah.
so they'll it's like, oh, this next issue is going to come out next week or next month or something, and then you wait, you go get it, boom, it's awesome, right? Where like movies sometimes are taking years to like produce, right? Yeah, before it used to be like, it used to take a longer, and then like it kind of closed it down, but now it's like making it twice as long now for movies than come out. So I think for them just to do the shows has been a lot better,
Yeah.
right? But that's my tangent, man. That was my tangent on where I think that TV shows or shows or movies or whatever kind of heading. I think that
Yeah.
shows are going to be the future, and they're getting there, right?
Yeah.
People want series. They want to watch things for long periods of time and rewatch them over and over whenever they get the opportunity, right?
Oh
Where
yeah.
like movies,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this one thing, I watched it once, I watched it twice, okay, I'm bored. We're like, you watch and you could see some new things, but like with the season, you get more episodes to kind of watch these things over and over, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I think it's headed, man. That's my that's my tangent on movies and stuff. But yeah, man. So another, but just kind of again changing gears here a little bit. I know we talked about it on the last episode, man. Watching the trailer um for the Matrix, I went
Yeah.
back and rewatched the first Matrix film.
Did you like it just as much as you did the first time you saw it?
I will say so the very first time I watched it, man, I think I was probably 11 years old and I didn't get it. Right. Like
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, this is cool. Like, yeah, like you got some like Christian allegories in here, right? Like, oh, that's the one. That's the person that's supposed to be the savior. That's the person that's supposed to kind of wake everybody up and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know, man. Like it's supposed to be something like that. But as I've rewatched it, as I've continued to get older and kind of like look at things differently, my God, it's a masterpiece. It's so goddamn good, man. How
Yeah.
much do you remember of the first Matrix film?
I mean, I rewatched the trilogy probably sometime earlier this year, so I've
Okay,
recently
now.
rewatched it all too.
Wait, you watched the second one and the third one?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. Like
Okay, I know they're not as good,
they're not
but
as good, but they're still entertaining.
oh, for sure, for sure. I think you can see like Jada Pinkett. She's in that in the second
Yeah.
one or the third one or something like that.
Yeah.
Neo's a Superman or something is flying around picking
Yeah,
up
he can
people and
fly
saving
now.
them and shit. But no, the first one is just so good, man. You know, it's like seeing, it's like, hey, this person is like, hey, what you think reality is isn't what it is, right? And like,
Yeah.
and I think there's a really good message behind the film in a lot of ways. It's like when you think you can't do things in life, you're wrong. It's just yourself telling yourself you can't do them, right? It's like
Yeah.
going
It's like
going
you're
along.
holding yourself back.
It's the whole growth mindset, thing, right? Like there's like a theory on growth mindset. Like if you look at things differently, you'll start believing it. So
Yeah.
and if you fail on something, instead of saying like, oh, I can't do that, like I suck at that, instead of saying like, but instead using the verbiage of like, I can do this. Yes, I failed. I just have to keep trying.
Yeah.
Right, like approaching it in those two different things. And there's a lot of that in the film, right? Like when he's
Yeah.
just like, I need you to hit me when they're fighting each other. He's
Yeah.
like, I need you to, jump over this building, you can believe. And there's even points where he's just like, he's starting to believe, and
Yeah.
he's starting to realize that he's a little bit more different than everybody else, man.
Yeah.
Which makes me ask you the question, are we living in a simulation, Derek?
I don't know, I think someone would have broke something by now.
It's like the Truman Show where a light's gonna fall from the ceiling, and you're
Yeah.
like, what the hell
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah. Someone would have broke something by now.
Or you'd be driving your car, and like it just like on the radio, you'd be switching the stations, and they're like, oh, he's going on the left on
Yeah.
Rose Avenue or some shit, and you're like, the hell, I'm going down Rose Avenue. What's happening?
Right.
If
Yeah. I
that stuff
think,
started happening, what would you do?
I
If
don't
just
know.
weird shit like that started happening, man, would you like, you can't tell anybody because everybody's gonna think you're
Think
like
you're a nut.
lost your mind. Yeah.
I'd have to figure out a way to show somebody, I think. Like, so I'm not the only one that's losing my mind out here.
I just do weird things at home.
Just for the people that are watching.
Yeah. Like outside of the four of these walls, right? I'd be out there doing whatever I want to do, right? Or not doing whatever I want to do. I'd be like live a normal life, go to work and stuff. But when I'm at home, I'd like pour ketchup and mustard on my head.
Standing on your coffee room table doing helicopter.
Yeah. Taking like baths in like chocolate syrup. Just weird things, man. Just weird things so they could eventually be like, okay, we have to turn this shit off.
Yeah.
I don't
We
want
got to
watch this.
reboot this guy.
We gotta reboot this guy, man. Bring him in. Push the button. Put him back to sleep. Make him
He
take
needs-
the red pill. Or the blue pill. It's fine. Keep taking him, giving him more blue pills.
He needs a hard reset.
I know it'd be
Maybe
tough,
that's
man.
what alien abductions are. People like figured out the matrix, and that's aliens bringing the people out and like trying to reset them or whatever by
Wait.
shoving stuff up their butthole.
Oh god, why does it have to be the butt, man?
I don't know. That's what everyone that's been abducted. They always say butt stuff happens. Maybe that's where your reset button is. It is in your butthole.
I don't.
You know,
I don't
on your phone, you put a little pin in the little hole and hold it down for a while.
No, it doesn't work, man. I have a certain product that's. Oh, sorry, I can't show that. I got a certain product that is aligned with certain fruit that doesn't have a little button like that, Derek. I'm sorry.
Eye pair.
An eye pair. That's what I have. I have an eye pair.
Isn't that what's the one they use on GTA? Is that eye pair?
I believe it's an eye pair.
Or no, it's just eye fruit.
I think it's eye fruit.
Yeah.
It's either eye pear or eye fruit.
It's eye fruit, and it looks like, and it's a banana with like an orange on each side.
There. It's a penis. Yes, but ladies and gentlemen, he just described a penis. It's fine.
But I didn't come up with that logo. That was GTA, guys.
No, it's you, man. It was all you. No, why are you putting the blame on somebody else? Anyways, but yeah, maybe, yeah. I was like, why can't it be the ear, man? Why can't it be the mouth? Why can't I come back and be like,
I don't want to know shit stuff down my throat.
It's like, man, my mouth and my throat are all fucked up. I don't know why. I saw a bright light last night when I was walking in the street, and then I just wake up in the morning, my throat
with a sore
hurts.
throat.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what the hell happened. It's just like, yep, aliens fucking went inside you, buddy.
You got reset.
What would they? What if I woke up and remembered that shit? What did they have to reset?
I guess they got to reset you again, like a harder reset. I don't know. Turn you all the way off.
Next time they got to go the opposite side. You're right.
They
That's
got to do a
but
firmware update.
I don't know. I don't know if I would tell anybody. I think I'd keep it to my goddamn self. I'd be like, man, you know what? I'm not saying nothing. I'm just gonna sit here, just look at you in the eye, and like my eyes are gonna tell you like I got fucking abducted. But like outside, I'm gonna be like, I'm fine, guys. I'm fine. Wink, 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 blinking, blinking, blinking. Kind of Morse code your ass. I was abducted last night. Help me. People were like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'm just saying, if I was abducted, I wouldn't tell nobody. I'd just be like, fuck it. I got abducted, guys. It sucked. Maybe on my deathbed, when I'm dying, I'll tell like my wife or whatever and be like, honey.
Those will be your last words. I was abducted by aliens.
I was abducted by aliens. It, it looked like Uncle
Beep.
Jimmy. Yes, your Uncle Jimmy. Uncle Jimmy abducted you? That's what they're gonna think. Poor Uncle Jimmy. He made some old man in a wheelchair. And they're taking him to jail.
There was banjo music.
I'm trying not to get the tone, man. I don't want us to get fucking banned or whatever.
Yeah.
I mimicked a noise I wasn't supposed to mimic, man. But yeah, The Matrix was another movie that I watched again, man. It was an awesome film. Another one, man, I wanted to kind of talk about last episode, but I was gonna mention it here. I saw a movie called The Father. Do you know what that is? Have you ever seen that?
Nah.
All right, so the Father is just like, so Anthony Hopkins is in it, and he won an award for Best Actor, Academy Award for Best Actor, and I believe that the movie also won an Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Uh huh.
So what it's about, man, is about a father or it's about this old man who's older, and he's dealing with like Alzheimer's. And you get to see, and I love when sometimes directors do these kind of things. You get to see the world through his perspective and
Yeah.
be as confused, angry, and as upset as he is.
Oh.
And what I mean by that is like there's like a few scenes, again, spoilers here a little bit, but there's like a few scenes where he like wakes up and he's like talking to his daughter in the morning, and he's like asking about her husband and stuff. And then there's like a scene where like she comes in and she has like a bag of chicken, and her husband's like on the couch, and he's like, hold on, let me call real quick. And he's like calling his wife, and it's his daughter. And like the daughter shows up, and she has like a bag of chicken, and so the husband's like, hey, let me grab that bag of chicken for you. I'll put it in the kitchen and I'll cook it for you and stuff, right? And she's like, all right. And she's like, Dad, what's wrong? And he's like talking to her, and like what she's saying is not matching what she told him.
Yeah.
So it's like making him even more confused. And so he's like, all right. He's like, all right. So when do you think dinner's going to be done? Like, is the chicken going to be ready? And she's like, what chicken? Like, what dinner are you talking about? He's like, your husband. He went into the kitchen with the chicken. Like, when's it going to be ready? And she's like, Dad, there's nobody in the kitchen. He's like, what do you mean? And so he like gets up and walks into the kitchen. There's nobody fucking there. Right. And so it's like little shit like that.
Yeah.
And then like there's even one point in time where he's like talking to somebody. He's like, "Where's my daughter? Where is she? Where's she gonna be here?" And he's like, "Oh, she's showing up. Don't worry." And she shows up, and it's a whole different woman. It's not his daughter.
Huh.
It's fucking trippy, man. Like it's not a horror film, but it kind of feels like that. Like
Yeah.
it has a because you
Like a
just
suspense or a thriller.
yeah, it's almost like a suspense film, but there's also no suspense. But it's kind of it's almost like it's building to be suspenseful, and then like right when it's about to get suspenseful, it fucking stops. And it
Yeah.
cuts it off right there. And it's like, this is not a suspense film. Like right when you're like, oh shit, this is a suspense film. It's like, no, it's not. And they just take it away from you, right? And you're just like, oh shit, all right. But you just feel really confused. You're just because
Yeah.
again, the story, like the whole story doesn't make sense because
Yeah.
you're listening to the story through his eyes and what he's dealing with and what he's thinking about and stuff. So it made me really reminiscent, or maybe it was very reminiscent of Memento. Have you ever seen Memento?
I've never seen it. Like I've
Okay, so a Christopher Nolan film about a guy.
he
And
has
again,
like
it was
he uses like pictures on a wall to remember stuff, right?
right.
Like
He uses pictures.
Polaroids.
He has like short-term memory loss. So
Yeah.
like, what happens is like you tell him something, and then 30 seconds later or 45 seconds later, he forgets it.
Yeah.
And so the way that the movie is filmed, it's filmed from the ending, right? And it's you and him trying to retrace your steps back to the beginning of the film, which is actually the end of the film. It's fucking trippy, man. Like, but
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, right? Like, it shows him. So he's like, what happens, right? It's like it's in black, like part of it's in black and white, part of it's in color. So the black and white part is the beginning of the film, the color is the ending of the film, and eventually they match up, and then everything kind of just like it starts making sense. But at
Yeah.
first you're really fucking confused because it's like he tattoos shit on himself. He like writes some things on himself so he could try to remember. And so at the ending, you're like, and he's like in a situation, and you're there, and you're like you're absorbing all the information he's getting, and then 45 seconds go by, and he just remembers what he was told 45 seconds ago, and then it like cutscene again, and it just keeps going backwards, and it keeps pausing and going back, and it makes you feel like you have like in short-term memory.
Like
It's
you have the
wild.
same thing he has.
Yeah, so it makes you feel. So it was really reminiscent of like The Father and Memento. almost aligned together perfectly, man, in the way that they were showing different kind of like mental health, like how people can suffer from mental health, whether
Yeah.
that's dementia, whether that's Alzheimer's, whatever
Yeah.
whatever the case may be for somebody who's older or somebody who has short-term memory loss, trying to remember things previously and what they kind of go with and how they get stressed out and suffer through it, man. So didn't mean to get so dark on this goddamn podcast here, man, or touch on such a definitely tough subject here, but it was definitely something where um it captured that, man. It made me like remember some of that right from that episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was great. So definitely a really good show, man, or definitely a really good movie. So highly recommend, right? Like if you want to stay at home and cry a little bit because it is pretty fucking sad. The ending is sad, but
Bring your tissue box.
to bring your tissue box, man. But it was a great performance. Right? He definitely
Yeah.
deserved that. Um, that Academy Award that he won for that, right? So, but before we, I know we're probably going to get to close ending to this, man. First week of football officially happened. What are some of your first impressions? For some of your first thoughts?
I didn't. Well, I mean, I wasn't too surprised that the Texans beat the Jaguars. I mean, they are the Jaguars.
Oh,
even though they,
I thought you were giving us credit. No,
even though they got the number 1 QB in the draft, but who else is on that team with them? Really,
nobody really, man.
So yeah, I know I sent you that. Did you see that meme I sent you about the Giants?
Oh shit! What was that?
Where they were blocking each other. The linemen were blocking each other.
Yes.
So the Giants being the Giants, the Jets being the Jets. Surprised that the Raiders pulled out that overtime win against the Ravens.
That was well. Let's start. Let's rewind here, right? Let's start with the first game, right? The Cowboys and the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers, yeah.
I
only watched the first half, but yeah, I saw the highlights and.
That was a great game so far, right? So like that was a great way to start the season, and then a great way to end the first week of the season.
Yeah,
that game was awesome. It was so goddamn good.
And then the power rankings come out, and I'm like, these power rankings are trash. Like
who's in the top 10?
Like Baltimore is like in the top, but the Bills are in the top. Like these teams that lost are in like the top 10.
Okay, that's weird.
Green Bay was still in the top 10, and they got blown out by the Saints.
That was a tough game. I was okay. So I'm in fantasy football, and this guy I'm playing against, right? He wanted to trade. He wanted Josh Allen, which I have.
Yeah.
And he was willing to trade Aaron Rodgers, Josh Jacobs, and it was another wide receiver. He was going to give me all three of those people for Josh Allen, and I said no. I was like, I'll trade you George Kittle for Josh Allen straight up. I felt like that was a decent trade.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't go for it. But he kept trying to offer Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers got him 3 points.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
And I was like, I'm glad I didn't make that trade.
Right.
I thought about it. I thought,
how many points did you get for playing Josh Allen?
I got 20 points, which is decent.
Not bad.
It wasn't bad.
He still played good.
He still played good, man. Again, they lost, and the Steelers are a really tough defense. So, and they were playing at home, thankfully, but still.
Like some of these games, like I watched the San Francisco game, and I had to stream it because I bought Sunday ticket, but it was blacked out. Like, remember we talked about this last week?
Yes, we did.
Like, blackouts when you pay for something is the biggest bunch of BS. So I had started to stream it, and it was a crappy stream. I kept having to refresh it, but you can't blame the Lions coming back on the offense because the offense wasn't out there giving up, 20 something unanswered points.
Yep.
I mean, of course, the offense could have been out there and added more points, but when you have 40 something points, you shouldn't have to keep adding more points.
Oh, so it was kind of like, what was it, that playoff game where it was, who was it? It was the Steelers and the Jackson. Well, it was the Steelers and the Jaguars.
The Colts. Well, I was thinking of the Falcons game where they were up by like 20 something points at halftime in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and then just flushed it down the toilet.
well, that's a little bit different, right? What I'm thinking of, it's like the Jaguars and the Steelers. I believe that they played a playoff game. It was like a few years ago. And this is when the Jaguars had like Blake Bortles as a quarterback, but their defense was amazing. Like one of the best defenses in a while, right?
Yeah.
And they were able to get ahead on the Steelers by a few points, but they kept having the score because I think they couldn't stop the Steelers or something. It was something weird
Yeah.
where like one of the team's defenses just was awful, but they were like still scoring points, and that was the
Yeah.
only way that they were going to win that game is because they got ahead of them that way,
Yeah.
right? So what you're saying is that with the Niners and Lions game, was it not Lions defense or it's the Lions offense that good, or was the Raiders or the I can't
Well, the
talk right now
Niners pulled
49ers
their
defense?
starters like sometime in the third quarter. After
Oh, okay.
Jason Verrett got hurt, they pulled their starters and put like secondary defensive people in. And
Ah,
then they
okay.
started giving up all these points. And then like sometime in the fourth quarter, they had to put a bunch of the starters back in to stop the bleeding.
They're like, oh shit, we're getting way too many points.
I mean, because they gave up a 2-point conversion. They gave up a onside kick. You know, they were just like it was starting to fall apart for them.
What game do you feel that you watched was probably, or even if you didn't watch it, but just like from a score perspective, was like the biggest surprise?
I'd say the Saints and the Packers game. Like I wasn't expecting them to come away with 3 points. I saw a thing that said all these Packers fans paid all this money to fly all the way down to Jacksonville to watch the Packers put up 3 points.
That's a funny joke. One of the games, again, that was a good game.
I saw also, did you see another thing during the Rams and Bears game? And it was like the first quarter or something like that. And I think they were winning like 10-0 at that point, the Rams.
Yeah.
And it went to commercial and it showed like on the ticker on the bottom a score for the end of the third quarter. And it was like 31-something Rams.
What?
Yeah. A lot of people like post it's on Twitter. You can look it up on Twitter.
So the score.
It was like the end of the first quarter, but they showed a score for like the end of the third quarter. And it was like 31-something Rams, like 31-27.
And that's what the score ended up being at the end of the third quarter?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look that up, but
that's wild. That's why they're like, spoiler alert. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
They're like, hey, the Watcher. That's what it was.
Right.
It was the Watcher
In
from
the alternate universe. The Rams were winning by this score.
One of the games, again, that was a good one. Like you're right. Like I think that the Packers losing was very surprising, right? I didn't think that was a
Jameis Winston
was going to.
What did he throw? 4 touchdowns?
5 touchdowns.
Yeah, was he that he was going to do that against the Packers?
Yeah, for like 100 yards or something like that. But a surprise game for me was the Browns game.
Oh yeah,
they took the Chiefs to the end. And
I was so hoping for them to. Well, it was that interception that Baker Mayfield threw on that last drive. Like,
well, it was that interception and also that punter. Like that punter, you know, because their defense was playing so good that if the punter would have been able to kick it back that far, it wouldn't have given them such a short field, and maybe could have bought them some time. Maybe could have did something, but yeah, Baker can't do it all by himself, man. Like he needs the entire team. But that was a surprising game for me to watch, and I was just like, damn, the Browns. Like I thought the Browns were gonna have it, and I was like, holy shit, maybe the Chiefs aren't invincible as I thought they were, right? And then they were able to pull it out. So it was like, oh shit, they were who we thought they were.
I mean, teams are gonna figure them out. Like they're not gonna be, unstoppable forever.
Yeah, Michael Vick in that crazy season that he had, right? Like the beginning of the season, he was killing it, man. Matter of fact, last season he was killing it. He goes to the playoffs. Defenses figure it out because you're gonna give me 2 weeks to study on you.
Yeah,
no, you're done. You're done.
Or when Carolina went to the Super Bowl and they figured Cam Newton out.
Yep. Absolutely, man. That was a game where they lost like just terribly, right?
When Cam didn't fumble the ball and didn't even bother going after it.
Yeah, it's in the Super Bowl too. Come on, man.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm excited for the season. The Eagles and Falcons game. I don't know why, but I kept seeing a meme of Matty Ice on the ground, just like laid out. I don't know if you've seen that meme or something. Like I guess in the game he like fell down or got sacked or something, and he's just like laying face down. Just
he's
like his
tired of it. Like, I'm sick of this.
it wasn't a third. It wasn't the third quarter too. So he was just like, I'm tired of getting my ass kicked in here, man. So the Vikings Bengals game. All right, Joe Burrow is he who we think he is? I don't know, man. We're gonna find out. Had a tough game there. They did win 27-24 against the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, man, that dude is getting paid. Care know what he says. The Titans, Derrick Henry did just.
Oh, that dude just.
He couldn't do nothing.
He's superhuman.
He's superhuman, but they stopped him the entire game. The Cardinals were able to stop him, man.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people just have your number,
That's true. That's true. Doesn't matter how big and strong you are.
Yeah.
Seahawks and Colts. I'm sorry, man. I feel bad for the NFC West because like everybody
It's like
won.
the toughest division in the league.
Right now, it is. It
Every
100%
last year,
is.
almost every year, man. Like even like Stafford taking over as Goff, and Stafford, like, he put up numbers, and
Man, he did great. I give him
yeah,
credit. That guy did awesome. I was like they kept talking about it. They're like, look how seamless he is, how confident he is. They're like, look at the
yeah,
relationship. They're like, Sean McVay feels like he has a partner. Like that was something the
yeah,
announcers, they were like, oh yeah, he feels like he has a partner
yeah,
with each other, right? Like it's not like where he had to try to coach and teach,
yeah,
Jared Goff. It was
that,
like
yeah,
Matthew Stafford's, way above him on that.
yeah,
But even then, man, I give props to Jared Goff because he still did his thing. Yeah, they lost pretty bad, right? But Jared Goff and the Lions, man, like he still put up some good numbers. But again,
yeah,
that was like how different was that of Matthew Stafford? Matthew Stafford still put
right,
up numbers and they still lost a bunch of games. So
yeah. That's a tough. That's the toughest division in the league. Like you put any other
they hit
teams
it
in
right
there, they're
now.
going to get hammered on every week in and week out.
So AFC North is a tough one, and NFC West is, but it is probably the toughest one right now, right?
Yeah.
AFC South, we got lucky, man. The Texans, everybody lost in the AFC South except us. We
Well,
are
I mean,
number one for
you
week one.
played one of the other teams, right? Jacksonville's in
Yeah,
the South, so
yes, and then
one
the
of those
Colts
two was going to
lost.
be, and the
Yeah,
Colts. I mean, they were playing the
Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Yeah,
So, what do you think was going to happen?
and then the Titans, they played fucking they played the Cardinals, so the
Yeah,
Cardinals just went off, man. But yeah,
yeah,
man, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there, man. Another great episode, Derek. Man, it's always fun talking with you about sports, movies, TV shows, anything and everything, man. So
yeah.
it's always good catching up with you, man. If you want to go ahead, close us out, man. Do your thing.
All right. I want to thank everyone that listened. Thank everyone that came back. Thank any new listeners we got. We appreciate you guys giving us a listen. We hope you stay subscribed to us. Keep listening. Check us out on all our podcast channels: Google, Apple, Spotify, all the big ones. We also YouTube. You can see our mugs on YouTube if you want to see our faces. And check out the We Three Bros website. We got some stuff up there. And I want to thank Joseph for being here again. And I hope you have a good weekend. I hope everyone else has a good weekend. Thanks for being here, Joseph.
Hey, man, it's always great. I appreciate you, Derek. Just shout out to the real MVP, my dog. She is passed out, man. She didn't bark this entire episode, so it makes me pretty damn happy. A poor thing had to get a shot today, so she's
Oh
she,
man,
she's out of commission, man. She's she's
yeah.
she's asleep right now. So
Did
shout
you,
out to
you
her.
did you like crouch up some sleeping pills and put it in her dog food?
No, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. No, absolutely not, man. Would never do that. But no, yeah, man, it's a great. Thank you for everybody who's listening. We appreciate you guys. Have a safe weekend. Have a fun weekend. Bigfoot, my guy. I know you're listening, bro. Like you're the one listener we have right now. I'm just kidding.
You're the
Come on,
one repeat listener.
yeah, one repeat listener, man. Come out, man. Come. Stream with us. Come listen to us. Come talk with us. Come chat with us. Even if you just sound like Chewbacca, like 97% of the time. You could do gestures. We'll make it work, man. We're
Right.
videotaping this shit now. So, but yeah, no, man. Thank you everybody who's listening, and have a good weekend again.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.